So we'll do a quick introduction. Yeah, Neha, you get started and I'll take over later.
No problem. First of all, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We are very excited to have you for this Lunch and Learn. As part of this Lunch and Learn, this is a virtual 60-minute session, and you would have already received some lunch vouchers. So feel free to, leverage it and use it whenever you would like. This Lunch and Learn, it will be a 60-minute session where Karina will be presenting the GitLab, overview. Feel free to either interrupt or maybe ask all your questions in the end. At the end, we will send you the recording as well as the presentation that we will share today in the end via email. So yeah, over to you, Sophia.
All right, great. I just lost my electricity. Can you all still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, by some miracle, I still have Wi-Fi. I don't know how that's going to go down. I'll talk quickly. Just want to provide a little bit of context on why we organized this session, and then I'll pass it over to Karina, who of course is our solutions architect, and she will walk us through this presentation today. So hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sophia. I'm your account executive here at GitLab. To provide a little bit of context, as I said, we understand that your team is currently doing an evaluation of how to improve your CI/CD process and primarily how to potentially replace CodeFresh. High level understanding, the Gymshark team is currently using a combination of 4, I believe, different tools to run CI/CD. One of the issues that has come up is developer experience. Engineers in your team are overall reporting issues with long build times, unreliability, and a big admin overhead that you would like to get rid of. The team is also not always able to centrally control the security or quality of your deployment tools, which you would like to improve on. And then, of course, and this is why there's an emphasis on security in today's session as well, your current tooling cannot provide the cybersecurity team with the required logs to detect or respond to incidents in your development lifecycle, which of course you would also like to improve on. So this brings us to GitLab. During the 60-minute session, we will provide you with an overview of what our platform does. You will see how GitLab can support you from the inception of an idea to its production phase. And we were particularly focused on developer experience. So you will see what the workflows look like and what are some key features that give our users a competitive advantage. And then, of course, we will also focus on the security experience and how you can empower your development team to shift security to the left. Now, regarding questions, if you have an urgent question, you can always, we want this to be interactive, so feel free to interrupt at the end of each sort of phase. Karina will give a little pause and you can ask your questions then, of course, or if you prefer, you can write them down in the chat and we can go through them at the end, whatever is easier for you. I think you can still hear me, yes?
Yep, we're all good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so over to you, Karina. Take it away.
Okay, so before we start, we have a question for you that you can all write your answers in the chat. And mainly, I need some information to know how familiar you are with GitLab. Neha, I'm going to be counting on you to actually do the poll. I need to know where I can start. I'm trying to add as much value as possible, and telling you something that you already know is not of much value. You're on mute.
All of us. I was going to say, we'll start, because we're in the room, guys. Experience with GitLab?
I've got quite a bit, but it's less relevant for me, more relevant for these guys because they'll be using it more than I will.
I know of GitLab, I've never used it hands-on though.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so then I'll start from the top. From some of you, this will be information that you know, and then if you want more details, we can dive in. Okay, so GitLab. this is a walkthrough on how to use GitLab, like Sophia mentioned, and how you can use it to help you in day-to-day life to actually give you more value or more benefits to help you do your work. Okay, this was the poll question. We count as already seen it. I'm just curious. So in the War and End room, somebody said that they're really familiar with GitLab. Did you create your own pipelines? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, we've kind of done a bit of everything, at least everything you had about 4 years ago. Anything new I won't have seen, but anything 4 years old, like creating pipelines, pipeline templates, SaaS, DAS sort of stuff. Some of the other analysis kind of setups, self-hosted.
Sorry,
setups.
is this Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Good. So we've done a lot of updates. I can talk about them. Well, I don't have time to talk about all the 4-year updates, but I'll keep it short to the ones that are important. Good. So I tried to start with a fun analogy. This is a picture of the security gate. I think we all got to a holiday or to a customer meeting. And I don't know if you ever had this experience where you're trying to get somewhere, but because there's not a good flow in place or somebody did not preview this many users, you get to have this chaos type of situation. This kind of relates to the DevOps experience sometimes. So I think right now we have question number 2, right, Neha?
Yeah. If you go one slide ahead, it has the poll. Yeah, just after this slide. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say is your biggest pain point in your current DevOps process right now?
The brand's filtering.
You can just pick one from 4 if it's too difficult.
Other CodeFresh is terrible.
What Chris said.
CodeFresh is just the worst. Like I think it's just the UI that annoys me the most. Slow.
No, for us, I think from a platform point of view, it's the stability for us. Like we struggle to get pipelines to actually always run in the same consistent manner, even though the pipeline itself hasn't changed.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that one for sure.
Okay. So when GitLab first started, when our founder had the vision of one tool for everything, he wanted to somehow give and empower the developers, but also the like the QA engineers, the DevOps engineers, to give them more freedom, to stop working in silos and have this friction of hand-on, where did the developer finish his work? Where should I start focusing on the pipelines? Should we deploy this or not? And of course, this entire like hand-off friction sometimes gets to finger pointing, like, hey, I wanted to finish my code, but it worked on my environment, and in the production environment, it just doesn't work. The pipeline's not configured correctly. And so on. And of course, the biggest pain point nowadays is that the security after all of this, just making the application work in such a silos mode, security sometimes is considered as an afterthought, which can backfire for a lot of companies. I hope this is familiar to all of you, and we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Karina. I'm a solutions architect with GitLab for pretty soon, it'll be 4 years now. As a background, I used to be for more than 12 years a backend developer, mostly focused on Java and Node.js. And then I moved to GitLab. It is my job here to help customers fully understand what GitLab can do and cannot do from the technical point of view, help you optimize your flow, help declutter all the work, and let you focus on what's important. I've helped a lot of customers in the past 3 years, something years. I hope I can help you too. Below you have my GitLab username, my GitLab email address. In case you have questions after this and they are still unclear, please feel free to reach out. Okay, so how do we declutter? How do we do everything, and what GitLab brings that's different? Well, the traditional way of working was the developer, once we assign ourselves to an issue and we create our own branch, we write the code, and then we start to commit. Once we commit the code that we think run locally and we think it's good, then this is merged to a branch that starts to deploy. Because of this scenario, the single source of truth for the developer is contaminated. Because if we cannot preview once we write our code to see, hey, how will this impact the actual environment where this is deployed, or we do not have access to the pipelines, or we just have a bad UI, or the pipelines, even though they didn't change, like you mentioned before, they don't offer stability. So we cannot foresee this, because we cannot see this in just one screen and it's not easy to reach. Then it's difficult for us to understand, like, hey, what am I actually deploying in the end? Once the code was deployed, we usually tend to add some tests for different environments. If we're in staging, if we're in UAT, we add a test for that environment. And usually after that, we run some security scans on top of it. But the problem is that if the developer writes the code here, the tests are only done after it was merged. So by the time the tests are done, the developer already starts to write code for the new feature. So the findings that are found here, like tests that are not run correctly, or there are some issues you need to fix in order to deploy this further, when they are reverted, it is very difficult for the developer to again start to fix it. Well, maybe it's not difficult for you. Maybe this is just my experience. I'm going to say it was difficult for me, because once you start to write your code and you get already fixed on the new feature, it's difficult to say, hey, what did I write 2 weeks ago? What was I supposed to do? Why did I write the function in such a way? Why does it return all of this? And why do I have this issue that I need to fix? So you have to somehow declutter everything. And even more so, it's difficult to somehow foresee all of this when you plan the sprint. So when you say, hey, this issue should be done in 5 story points. But what if you do it, it's 5 story points, and then after it is deployed, you need to reverse everything back. And you realize, hey, in the end, it was 8, not 5. So we didn't deliver in time in this sprint. So this is the traditional way. I believe we're all familiar with this. How is GitLab different? So this is usually the way and the workflow that GitLab brings to the table. As you can see, the repository is considered separate. The developer no longer pushes to the repository, but it's the way where you push is fully connected to the pipeline. Therefore, when you push your code and in the place that you write, this is where you will automatically see all the security reports that usually were done after it was deployed to an environment. This is where you can say, hey, I know you have 5 story points for this feature, but after once I'm coding, I see that I have some issues with the test environment that have different, that cost more time to fix. So this is where you can actually create yourself a new issue specifying, hey, we need to fix this, and this takes 3 story points additionally more. But the feature that, speaking as a former developer, that I really loved is the review app. So with the review app here, within the place where you're actually, when you're writing the code, GitLab temporarily deploys the application for you. So you can fully understand every single line of code. How will it look like in production or in staging or in UAT? And then once you're done, GitLab cleans this out for you. What this also means for the reviewers or for the security team or for the QA team, this means that the developer is able to fix the issues once it's working on a code. So there's no more like 2 weeks lag. And because most of the issues were fixed, for the QA and for the security team that remains here, they only have to focus on the ones that are important. So they will have the time to actually do them right. There's no more pressure on the number of tickets. It's a pressure of quality and how to fix them. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we all know that the flow of code is complex and it has a lot of steps that we need to do. In GitLab, we start with epics where we just define like, hey, we want a feature or we want to develop an application. Okay, so what does this application need to do? Then we have milestones like features with deadlines, meaning it needs to have a sign-in. So the sign-in should be ready by 2 months. On top of that, you can drill down on the actual task that you need to do. And these we call issues. The issues are the place where the developers can actually see the hands-on task that they need to do. And the place where they can assign themselves and just pick one that you like, or you can have your own flow on how to do that. What's different now is the moment the developers assign themselves to the issue, they will see a button right on the issue, and that button is called Create a Merge Request. It's not a pull request, it's a merge request for a reason, because GitLab offers you the place and automates the steps for you to have like a window through how this code will look like in production. And this merge request is for the developer, should be the place where they reside until that feature or that issue is done. GitLab will automatically name the merge request for you if you like it to. GitLab will create a branch for you once you assign yourself to the issue. So not after you work locally, but instantly once you assign yourself to the issue, you will have your own branch where you write your code, where you constantly push it, where you'll see the automated tests that are run against different environments, against your own code. This is where you can also add the scans, extra scans that you like. And this is where you constantly push all the fixes. Everything should be in one page. And this page should be the merge request. This is also where you collaborate with your reviewers or just with peers. I know we've all been there in case you're stuck or you don't know if you provide high quality code or if this function should just not have a return. Then this is where you can just set the merge request, provide a link to your colleagues, and you can work and collaborate on that. And if your colleagues can already see how the production environment will look like once they give you your help, because you'll have the review app there, then we expect that the result and the help will have like a higher quality.
Can I ask a question about the review app? I think someone asked something in the chat, but I can't see the chat. Where is the review app hosted? Can you send it around to people with like a unique URL or?
So the answer here is you can define this by default. Like in GitLab, the pipeline is run by something that we call a runner. And the runner has their own servers where they build, they test, they do everything. If you leave it by default, they will temporarily deploy it in the servers where the runner is running. If you wanna customize it, you can pinpoint a place where they can deploy everything. And this will have, no matter what you do at the end, you will have a URL, because that URL will be also used later on, like for security tests, for dynamic application testing, and so on.
Karina?
I see Emma raised her hand. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some questions from Emma and Alex, so maybe we can address them now if you want.
Yeah, sure thing. Let's start with Emma.
Yeah, so several questions on the review app on our runners. Is these self-hosted runners or these runners hosted by GitLab?
Both.
Okay. Other ones were around, you keep mentioning issues. Are these GitLab issues and could these be created in Jira rather than GitLab?
Yes and yes. These are GitLab issues, but GitLab has a really tight integration with Jira. So if you create the issues in Jira, they will automatically be reflected back in GitLab. If somebody changes something on an issue in GitLab, they will automatically be reflected back to
So
Jira.
essentially we're duplicating the number of issues though, because we'd have one in Jira and one in GitLab.
Yes, but you no longer need to maintain. So the reason why you're duplicating the number of issues is because in GitLab an issue needs to be tied down to a merge request, but you're not duplicating it. So the actual cost and storage in the background, it's next to zero. Issues do not cost a lot unless you have, I don't know, you have a design that is extremely, like a picture that is extremely big. Issues do not cost much. And you do not need to bother about that because GitLab will maintain it for you. You can continuously work in Jira and create the issues there. Developers can assign themselves through the tickets in Jira. GitLab will mirror this and the developers will work on the merge request in GitLab and everything will be reflected back to Jira because in Jira, we can even take the labels, the temporal user. So if you have a user that only exists in Jira and that user creates issues, you do not need it to have it in GitLab. In GitLab, you'll have the issue and you'll have a label like it was created by the user Emma that is not in GitLab. And GitLab also takes the label. So there, if you'd like, I can send over more after this presentation with the Jira integration. But the idea is it doesn't matter where you create it, as long as you have the integration ready, both tools will work the most. And the important, like why we created this integration is just so that developers can focus on the rest of this process without any impact if it's Jira or GitLab.
Okay, thank you. And the other one was around the review app. Review apps, well, sometimes our apps require dependencies for services, and then the other, so can we do that? Is there a way to customize it to say for this service, we need these dependencies deployed as part of it?
Of course, you can have, so the pipelines in GitLab are extremely flexible. If you'd like, I can share projects that have this dependencies afterwards. You can depend on another pipeline, another project to finish, or another job within the same pipeline, or just an artifact to be stored somewhere. It's up to you. The number of dependencies are unlimited. You just write a job and then we have the word that's called needs. And you say, hey, this job in order to work needs to have this. And this needs can also be, for instance, a variable. Like let's say you have a variable that you set up in another pipeline or in another job within the same pipeline, and that variable should be populated. You can say, hey, I need this. Or the report or a JSON report after the whole test, you can specify, hey, this job will only run if the report is there.
And then does that review app actually support API services where they're only an API, there's no front end?
Yeah, you can do this. You just need to give it the environment where it can run this and expose the APIs. And then on top of it, once it's running, you can even add like API security to make sure that all and everything is right and ready and not vulnerable once exposed. Okay. The idea, like the way the review app is thought of is so you have a preview. So once you click that button, you'll actually see the front end, the back end, everything of the application, so you can fully understand what's going on. And additionally, on top of that, we can also add like some dynamic application testing, like API fuzz testing and so on. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, Alex.
How does the review app integrate with something like AWS serverless approach? So let's say we have a repo which is purely a back-end end-to-end pipeline, gets data from service A, goes to service B. How does the review app like spin up all the infrastructure we need in AWS to run all the lambdas and all the event bridge stuff and all the SQS queues? Or would that still be on us to set up all that in like ephemeral environments?
So you need to configure this. The review app will not know. You need to configure this, but we have an example. And if you just search GitLab and Lambda, the project is already there and it's already pre-configured to work with it. So you'll have a starting point. Sorry, I think I went a little bit too far. Okay. I see you nodding. Sophia, can I ask you to add like a reminder for me to send over the Jira integration and the Lambda project?
Yes, I've also noted down all the questions in our doc, so if
Great,
anything's
great.
missing.
Okay, do we have any other questions before we move on?
Nothing immediately.
No, it might be worth taking an action to maybe do another smaller session soon around the review app, because I can hear there's a lot of interest on the call and there's interest in the room as well about the review app in particular. We have another thing going on that might be useful for. So yeah, there's a lot of interest in that.
Yep, absolutely noted.
Okay, so before we move on, because like part of your scenario always, like some scanners always come up, I just want you to know that for security scanners, this is what we have. Some of them are available to you right now, so for free, and some of them are at the paid tier. For instance, what we have is the static analytic testing. We really pride ourselves with it because unlike other tools, like for instance, GitHub, we scan a lot of the frameworks, we scan a lot of the languages, but also the frameworks on top of it. So it's not just okay to scan the backbone, we also scan the frameworks on top of it. You also get right now for, yeah. Okay, so you also get secret detection. So because you already mentioned AWS, in case you're like concerned about leakage or sometimes losing your AWS key, you can already scan for that through your pipelines and through your projects. And you also get container scanning. The rest are part of the ultimate tier. These are static scans, so that happens before we actually deploy the application. They don't need to have a running application. Coverage guided fuzz testing, this is on the runtime of the application, and dynamic scan is after for instance, you have the review app that is already pre-configured. GitLab bombards that application and tries to scan it full of vulnerabilities with dynamic application testing and web API fuzz testing. Any questions here? Okay. Then let's move on. Developer experience. I want to show you just a little bit about GitLab, and I want to show you a merge request, how it will look like. I'm not going to show you best case scenario. I'm going to show you worst case scenario. So that is a merge request that where the pipeline is broken, because I want you to see the actual real life feeling. Okay, so we have a merge request that's supposed to develop a particular feature for a front end. We know that this merge request automatically closes an issue, and this issue will close the one from Jira as well once it's done. And we know that we already have some pipeline requirements. So this is something that is already set up, and the pipeline will automatically mark them as done already if it's the case. Now, you have a pipeline where the build worked, the test passed, but the review application failed. And you can see here that GitLab tried to deploy this, but there's a failure in the review pipeline, and we'll
I'm
try
not sure
to
we
fix
could.
that.
I'm not sure we can see the right screen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
It still seems frozen. Okay, now we see draft resolve. Is that what you want to show?
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to what I said, sorry for this. So this merge request, once this is done, it automatically closes a particular issue from GitLab or Jira. We do not care. It will close it. It's automatically related. So it has, the pipeline has some requirements that are already there set up by DevOps engineers, and the pipeline will automatically mark those requests as passed or not. Those are requirements as passed or not based on some criteria. And if I scroll down, I can see that this pipeline has build and test the state. The test stage is fine, but the review app has an error, and GitLab tried to deploy, but it failed. By the way, the review app, because we also mentioned URLs, in case you don't specify a particular URL for the review app, GitLab also creates, once we deploy, we also deploy based on an environment. So we create a temporal environment for the review app, and it usually is named review / and the branch name. Okay, so we see that this merge request automatically requires 2 approvals for license check, and normally the merge request will look like this. So it's pretty clean. You can see the code, you can see who's the reviewer, you can see the milestone and the deadline and the time spent on it. And if you scroll down, you can also see the conversation that you had with your colleagues. Now, if you want to see more, this is what I was referring to. You no longer need to switch the context. You know right off the bat, even though this is an open merge request, that your code quality went down. And you shouldn't open the pipeline to see that. You should be able to see it here. And if I just expose it, it's easy to see that, okay, there are some 31 findings, but the GitLab tries to focus the attention of the developer on the things that are important. So you're always going to see first the critical, and then it will go down as the impact of that finding goes down. So right now we have a major. You can actually see that the function in it exceeds the 25 lines allowed. So somebody was extra zealous and they wrote too much on a function. And if you click on it, it will actually get you to the file and to the line. You'll also be able to see all of this once you do the review and you see the diffs of the code. Okay, coming back to requires 2 approvals for license check. This was automatically added because I set up at the company level or at the folder level, in case we have unaccepted licenses within the code that were added, somebody needs to approve them. So because we have 15 new licenses for this project, somebody, like the merge request cannot be merged until somebody from legal or licensing approves this change. And last but not least, we have all the security scans available, and we already know, like right before reading it, we have 1 critical and 7 high. So it's pretty easy to see, hey, I shouldn't mark this, like this code is not done, I should fix it. So here you get all the scans. The ones that are marked in green is the one that you don't have any problems. And the ones that are extremely red is where your eyes should pop up and you should have a look at. So for instance, right now we see that we have dependency scanning detected 10 new vulnerabilities and 1 is critical. So I'm still in the merge request, but I want to know what's critical because I want to fix it. I like my code. I like delivering like high quality code. So I just click on it and it's easy to see the description, the actual file where this coming from, the tool that detected it, the link. So this link will take me outside, like to the reasoning why this is detected. And sometimes GitLab even offers you a solution for this. And what I mentioned before is, in case you feel like, hey, this will take too much time to develop, you can just create another issue. If the issue was not here, you would see a button like create an issue. you can already see that this has something assigned to it, and you can immediately push it. And yes, this issue is created in GitLab and in Jira as well. And it's automatically pre-populated by GitLab with all the findings. Okay, questions so far?
The security scanning findings, are they new findings or are they just findings from previous commits as well? Or previous work?
Very good question. The answer is whatever you want them to be. You can set them up to have new findings, or you can set them up to have previous findings. For free, what you get are the new findings. So the security scans that you can already add and test on your environment. What they will do is, because right now we are on a particular branch, like 30 to develop, GitLab will take the results that it has in the main branch and it will compare to these ones.
Cool.
And if they don't find it, then it's critical. But at the ultimate tier, you can have a policy where you can set up, hey, this pipeline is not allowed to merge if this all critical vulnerability or 5 critical vulnerabilities for, I don't know, fuzz testing appears, or just 5 new vulnerabilities appears. So you have these policies that you can set them up and you can play around with your level of security. So you have more room to customize it. Okay, I see we have a new question. So Emma, does the security scan look at the dependencies as well? Let me know if you want to verbalize your question.
Yeah, sure. We currently use Dependabot to help us keep our dependencies for our services up to date. And what it will do is if there's a CVE for something, it will, and there's a fix, it will auto send a PR. And if there isn't, it won't let us, it'll let us know that there's a CVE, but it won't force us or block us from doing anything. So with the way this vulnerability scan works, if there's a CVE on, let's say, a dependency, but there's no actual fix for it yet, would it block us from being able to continue? Or if actually we look at that risk and go, we don't use that part of a library or dependency, let's ignore it. Can we just accept that risk without blocking us?
Yeah, so the answer is you kind of need to do both, and you need to set up how you want to do things. So if you set up as this being a blocker, then it will block you. If you want to take a look at it and either let the developer decide, hey, this is not a blocker, or you want somebody from the security team to look at it to say, hey, this is not a blocker, we'll just create an issue and fix it, you can do that. Related to the Dependabot, you can also use a bot. If you're already familiar with this one, you can plug it in, but GitLab automatically has some auto remediation tools. So if it's just like updating a package that already exists and you give GitLab this possibility, GitLab can automatically fix that for you too. And you will be able to see it. Like, I don't know if I have time to show you, but there's an entire view, there's an entire report, vulnerability report, and next to all the critical ones, you can see, like, for instance, here, vulnerability remediated. Please review before resolving. Like, you're able to push to the main, but GitLab knows, hey, this vulnerability is here. It was automatically remediated. We need somebody to actually see, hey, this is fine or not. Did I answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Good. By the way, speaking about bots, we also use a lot of bots in case you want to customize it. So internally, we really like to use bots based on the reactions that triggers something, or based on the words that are when somebody comments or anything, we mark the stages of the merge request, or we automatically ping different people. You can easily integrate any type of bot that you want with GitLab. Well, easily means that you can grab that code and you need to modify it for our actions and for our pipelines, add our terminology there, but the main source will work the same. Okay, switching back. Okay, can you see the developer experience?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so that was the developer experience with GitLab. I hope you liked it. I hope you can see the benefits. If not, we can talk more about it. I'm here. Let's see if it helps you or not. Next up was the security experience. I'm just going to go through this really fast because you have already seen that. You have already seen the vulnerability report. This is where the QA engineers can look at. Again, GitLab is created for developers to just stick to the merge request, so it kind of like declutters all the other reports that you need to look at. And this is what we offer. So you're on top of your code, and this is at the organizational level, folder level, repo level, wherever you want. Okay, before I move on, are there any other questions here? Okay. So this is the way and how to work with GitLab, how to use the merge request, how to use the environments and preview what you have done. Next topic, and this is something that I've seen from other customers, is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So question for you right now is, are you using any artificial intelligence tools in your company?
In which way?
Kind of.
We're trialing Copilot.
Okay, good.
What was the other one?
We've also looked at, I'm looking at Amazon's version of Copilot as well.
Whisper.
Yeah,
Code
Whisper.
Whisper.
And Notion AI as well.
Oh yeah, Notion AI. I love Notion AI.
I need to.
Okay. So Alex, because you asked in which way, well, AI could be in almost every way that you can imagine, right? So it depends either when you write code, when you try to generate issues, when you're trying to fix them, when you're trying to put code. Alex, I don't know what is Notion?
Oh, that was a dig at Brad, sorry.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
basically it's a wiki.
It's like Confluence, but different.
A wiki or something.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
have a
Confluence,
Confluence.
but rubbish.
Yeah, rubbish version of Confluence.
Then we don't have a replacement for rubbish. No, we don't have a
Good.
rubbish Confluence. But we do have a replacement for Confluence, yeah. And the idea, so what we do offer is, because everything is in one place, we call it wiki, it's GitLab wiki. And once you write your code, you can easily like tie them down. You can easily add a snippet. It's no longer a copy and paste. You can just say, hey, it's in this area of the repo. You can still copy and paste and add the snippet in there if you'd like, but it's more like tie down. And you can use also like the merge request for the audit trails. You can use different users. It offers you a bit more flexibility. It doesn't have all the features of Confluence, but I think it has most. Like in almost 4 years, I've never seen a customer that says, hey, this is not enough. It's not too late. You can be the first one, but just let me know. So I won't say it before. Okay, so what do we have with AI in case you want to test this out as well? So first things first, for us, when we release AI, the most important thing is that your code, the company is safe. Because of this whole OpenAI and the whole Samsung debacle, we want you to feel safe. We want you to know that your code is secure. We are not sharing any of your code with anything. It's not stored anywhere. The AI will not be able to use it and bring it back as a response to another company. This is our main goal and our main focus when we're talking about AI. Okay. What do we have to offer? Well, if you remember the screen with the GitLab flow in the beginning, in almost each and every stage that you do, we have some AI features. So for instance, since you're using Jira, I don't know if you're going to use this, but if you create epics with similar subjects, we're working on an AI feature that summarizes all of this and groups them for you in a way that you can easily find it, and it will automatically learn based on market demands, like how to group them and how to develop them. This Also goes for the issue comments, because you know this long thread of, hey, how should we do things? What should you do and what should you change? This also goes for issue comments. And if you're using Jira and those comments are also passed back to GitLab, you can also benefit of this. Something else that we have is when you try and push your code, I'm talking about actual Git commands. GitLab will help you here, will pre-populate the Git commands, or it will explain for you why should you push like this. Once you're doing review, it will also help you explain the code, and it will also can also automatically generate some tests in the merge request for you. Now, based on what you said you're using or what you're looking at, these I think should be the most important ones for you. So once within the merge request, as AI features and ML, we offer code suggestions, which is the equivalent of Copilot. We also suggest reviewers. So the way this works is based on the code that people write. GitLab has like a grading skill. Okay, let's say Corina pushed a lot of Java code. She tried to review some Node.js code, but that didn't pass. So maybe Corina is a senior for Java, but she's a beginner for Node.js. So if somebody needs a reviewer for Java and Corina is part of that project, I'm going to suggest her. And then it goes a layer deep, and it also looks at how busy the reviewers are. So if Corina knows Java, I would ask her as a reviewer, but she already has like 4 open merge requests that she needs to review and her own assignments. So odds are she will not finish in time. So I will not have her as the first suggested reviewer. And then something that I really like is it summarizes the merge request changes, because sometimes you know how you change a line of code, or you just copy and paste the containing of the files, but you put like in the beginning, you have a lot of change, but it's not really necessary because the diffs just sees it as a different line, but you just added something there. Well, this will go away, or this will help, because it summarizes the changes in a nice way. It brings everything down structured, and you get to take it one by one. I've been talking a lot. Do you have any questions here, or shall I move on?
What's the
adoption? Oh, go on, Alex.
No, that hurt my feelings, Brad. What's the adoption been like of these tools? Is it something you're seeing customers use more, or is it kind of gimmicky? Better trying to be spicy.
Honestly, it's a little bit of both, because some tools are already available, like are available for you to use. And some tools are just experimental, so those are a bit more gimmicky. So it's a little bit of both. And you know how AI is, or machine learning, the more data you give it, the more it learns. And if we just have a feature that is experimental, then it needs more time to learn and provide the proper results. But if you're looking at a feature that is there and you can already test, like code suggestions, this has improved a lot. So the feedback issue that we hear from customers are better. But because like in our culture, we are fully open source and completely transparent, I can do even a better one. Alex, I can share the feedback from customers because they are public in an issue, and you can actually look at it. And maybe you can let me know if they're gimmicky or not, because this is just my opinion.
Cool, okay. So based on that, with that, you said the more you use it, the more it knows, the more it can train our model. That would require us to go all in on GitLab's epics and issues, right? Like currently we use Jira, right? So we'd have to change our workflows, or no?
So it depends on what you want to use. Because GitLab is fully tied down with Jira, you shouldn't, like for you, it should be the same. The only thing that you're going to lose is the summarize epics and the summarize issue comments. This will be within GitLab. But within Jira, once you click like the ticket name, or you just scroll down, everything is tied down to GitLab. So you will have a lot of places where you just click and you go to the GitLab issue to see the issue comments. If somebody comments on a ticket or on an issue in Jira, that comment would automatically pop into GitLab. So you're not going to lose this. It's just the summarize epics.
Okay.
Oh, and these are not all. We still have more. So on the scan, so when somebody scans a vulnerability, we found that it was very difficult for some developers to understand why this is a vulnerability, because yeah, the explanation is short there, and when you give the link to the actual vulnerability, there's a lot to read, and usually there's a time pressure to fix it. So we offer right in the vulnerability where you pop up, AI will explain that vulnerability in a more user-friendly for you. And in the collaboration and review, so where you see the diffs, it will summarize all the reviews for the for the reviewer, in order for it to see like easy and understand everything. And something that is experimental is the value stream forecasting. So GitLab can look at things like DORA metrics and how long does it take for you to deploy to production, how many tests do you have that fail for production UAT, and it measures the time, and it because you give, the more you give to GitLab, the more reports and time measure it will bring you. And this is already there. But what we want to do is offer a forecasting, add AI to forecast when things are going to get rough, or when you're going to need more help. So Alex, DORA metrics, it's not a slide, but I can do you one better. I don't know if we have time today. I think not. I can show you the DORA metrics of GitLab. How long does it take for us to build the product? Okay. Sophia, I'm counting on you, please, because you know I have the memory of a fish. I'm gonna forget.
I'm writing everything down, don't worry. And just while we're on the AI topic, there is a workshop that we're going to be hosting on the 20th of July. I'll just share the link in Zoom, obviously free registration. So feel free to register if you want to find out more. I think we'll be talking about all the features, experimental or not.
Yeah, you're going to hear my voice in that workshop as well. But I'll have other colleagues, so in case you're tired of it, you'll have like diversity. Okay, so available features. This is what we already have. Like again, the ones that you've seen, summarized and put per tier. Feel free to, like, some of them are experimental. This means that if you want to test them out, there is like a trial as a customer you can sign out for. And you can test them out. Some of them are already there, and it's a limited time when everybody has time to test it, just because it's extremely expensive resource-wise. But you can just enable it in case you want it. Any questions here?
Nothing in the room.
Good.
I think maybe just it might be helpful. I don't want to take up time, but given the team, I think Emma mentioned Copilot on GitHub. Like, what are high level, Karina, like some differences between what we're going to be doing in Copilot? We can share that.
Okay.
And I'm stuck.
Yeah, you're stuck, but
Am
I
I
think
not?
I got it. So
Oh,
you
I'm
said
not. Okay.
half and half, but I think I got it. So you said like the differences between Copilot. So the main difference is in order for GitLab to train the data model, we do not use your code. So you are secure from this point of view. We're using Google, and we're using our own defined data models where we actually train your code. So we have repos that we vetted, that we know it's secure. So your code doesn't get shared with other customers. But what it does use related to code suggestion from you is formatting. So this means that if in a particular project you have a way of naming your variables, or conventions for brackets or commas, and so on and so forth, GitLab will learn this, and once we provide code suggestions, those code suggestions will be according to your naming conventions, for instance. This is, yeah.
No, I was just saying that's cool.
We just want to, we've seen that, yes, AI is really good, but you also need to be aware of your code, and we don't want to offer any of our customers, we want you to feel safe and secure, not worried like, hey, is my data going to be out there? Is it Samsung all over again? We don't want this to happen to you. Okay. I think there's also a difference related to how many languages we test. We offer, I think, 16 languages so far. And again, once we test, we look not at so we don't just have JavaScript, we also have React on top of it, Node.js. We offer all of this, all the framework on top of it as well. It's not just the bare bones. And there are some other changes, but yeah, I don't know what's important to you, so I'll just shut up.
Check the workshop if you can, and we'll talk more.
Okay, so we are almost out of time. 5 minutes remaining. I want to get back to the initial picture. We started out talking about working in a tool that is where the UI is just sucky, or you don't have consistency. Even though the pipeline didn't change, you don't have consistency. Well, this is part of the GitLab's why the product exists. This is our mentality, and what we've seen in the past I think almost 14-15 years since we started to actually really develop GitLab and have it in market. We heard from our customers that it helped like grow their DevOps lifecycle by 20% to 100%. The part that me as a former developer I really love is the work together, the collaboration. I don't know if you had this in the past. I used to feel like, hey, I'm being finger pointed, or I'm not doing good enough, or my colleagues have better notion about how to implement SSO, and I don't. I just know how to do call the REST APIs and implement the algorithms. But if you have everything in one place and you empower collaboration, then it's not my knowledge anymore. It's everyone's knowledge. Okay. Before I move on, do you have any questions here?
Nope.
Good. I'm curious to see after you try out GitLab if you have the same feeling, or if not, please tell me, because I can easily modify this. The important thing is that it states the truth. Okay, so you have seen GitLab, the one DevOps platform. I've touched a little bit about like how it looks like, what an issue is, what a merge request is, the pipeline, the deployment, the environment. I wanted to fix the pipeline, but I see we don't really have any more time. I can go back and show you the pipeline that works in a previous merge request. I can show you environment. But the idea is I hope that right now you have an overall on how to work with GitLab, what are the benefits, what are the drawbacks, and I hope this is enough to make you want to see for yourself if what I said is a good fit for you or not.
Excellent. Thank you, Karina. Really appreciate it, and everyone else involved. Yeah, it was super useful. People are nodding. I've had my Slack's been going up, which is really good.
Okay, perfect. I know you mentioned about the review app, so that's definitely a topic that we can do a deeper dive on. I'm not sure, but we can do a deeper dive around. And then if there's anything else that comes up, let us know. We're happy to arrange that too. I'll loop in Karina so that if you have any technical questions, you can reach out to her directly. And then Alex will send information on the DORA metrics as well that you requested.
Oh, I love Alex.
What's up?
Just stroking the cat and a big thumbs up. It's just
Life's good, right?
Yeah, life's good. No,
Okay,
really appreciate that,
perfect.
Sophia. We'll definitely catch up next week. Yeah, I've got some few updates on my side, but otherwise, brilliant. We really appreciate your time.
Great. We're glad
very
this was
much.
helpful. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Karina and Neha, for organizing this for us, and Karina for running us through it. I will also be sharing the recording if you want to share with anybody else.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
All right,
Cheers, all.
perfect.
Much
And enjoy
appreciated.
lunch.
Yeah, we will. Cheers, all.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.